Somehow I am still in love with Thelema and this experience of being a Thelemite, which is essentially what this whole video is about. It's a little bit of my personal take on it and sharing some of my lived perspective. I recently got a really sweet and thoughtful comment on Patreon that is honestly the inspiration for this whole video. So the comment said, "I'm fairly new to Thelema and OTO, and am looking to you as an example of how to conduct myself as a female Thelemite. I understand that gender is a construct. I would like to learn from you. I like your videos. I find your videos to be sound, grounded, and informative. Thank you." Well, no, thank you. That's really cool you're on your journey and really special. I get to be a part of that as well as a part of all of you all's journey, whatever that may look like for you. It's never lost on me how fortunate and special it is to be able to make YouTube videos, write, and also give talks and lectures out there. I am in 2025 doing lots of travel this year. I am giving lots of talks and workshops and visiting you all across the country of the United States and outside of it. So you can follow me on social media or Patreon to find more details of where you can find me. But I'm getting off topic here. Let's talk all about the reasons why I love being a Thelemite. So, as most of you all know, here on the YouTube space, there is a genre of videos where it's like, I love being a insert whatever religion here. And it's like 5 reasons why I love being a Christian woman, 10 reasons why I like Catholicism, whatever the case may be. And the fact of the matter is, Thelema and Thelemites don't really occupy this space at all. There are certainly a lot of witchy content creators who do a lot of these more personal, down-to-earth kind of videos, but we're really lacking in the Thelemic department. So let's explore that today. And I think it's a great way to talk about that beautiful comment I got and explore that space a little further. It's a great mental exercise. I always encourage people, as well as I enjoy myself, to reflect back on why they are what they are. So for me personally, I really struggle to come to terms with being a Thelemite. I actually really don't like labels. Once you call yourself something, you're sort of in a box, and I really feel like my beliefs and who I am as a person, like we all are so much more than just our religion. But at the end of the day, I came to accept Thelemites out of utility and function because that's what I am. I think there is fantastic academic stuff out there. I produce a little bit of it, hopefully more in the future, but sharing the lived experience of what it means to be a Thelemite and sharing our journeys is so beautiful. It's a part of being human, and we get to share a glimpse into other people's worlds, especially in spaces like this, which is so incredibly valuable. So I think for Thelemites in particular, a lot of people are scared to out themselves, and for good reason. But hopefully videos like this will normalize being a Thelemite, and being a Thelemite will be just that much more acceptable, and of course it's fun for me to share my thoughts as well, so let's get into it. So I ended up coming up with 6 different reasons why I love being a Thelemite. There are obviously way more reasons than just the 6 I'm going to provide today, but 6 is a nice number. It's a solar number. It gets the conversation going, and this is essentially not a huge in-depth exploration of everything I think in the world, but some things to kind of think about. So for the first reason of why I love being a Thelemite, is this idea found in our central sacred holy text, the Book of the Law, which is existence is pure joy. So this is in direct opposition to, in Buddhism, this idea of dukkha, or existence is suffering or sorrow. Thelema is in direct opposition to that, meaning the idea is we incarnate into this existence for the chance of experiencing union and the joy that comes from that union. And I think that's such a beautiful thing to hold with me day to day and remember even in the darkest of times. Of course, life brings a great deal of suffering and sorrow, but there is that opportunity for pure joy, especially when you are living your true will and aligning yourself with that. For a second reason, diversity and the fact that Thelema intentionally is a space for having your own path and your own diversity of beliefs. So there is no like, I don't know, huge mandate of how you should think, what your religious beliefs should be. There are definitely some churches of other religions out there that are very strict in what political beliefs you can have, how you live your life, to demonstrate how much freedom there is to think for yourself and be yourself. I return back to this text called Liber Oz, where it basically talks about, dress as thou wilt, eat as thou wilt, blah, blah, blah. So live your life according to your true will. And obviously that is not a charge for doing whatever you want, whenever you want. It's a charge to align yourself with your true will, which is your innermost spark of divinity. So I find that I have a more restrictive, perhaps, life than when I really firmly got into understanding myself and doing my will. I'm not as much of a partier, and I don't live as wild of a life. My existence is quite quiet, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy doing that because I'm very intentional with my actions, and because we are all different people living our own lives, trying to find our way and align ourselves with that, you get such a beautiful diversity and expression of how different people are living and who they are. And I find learning about and seeing and experiencing the creativity that is other people, my life is so much richer. I mean, sometimes that's simply the experience of being like, wow, that is not who I am and how I want to go about things. But sometimes that experience is like, wow, that's a better way of doing things, or I feel inspired by this. My fellow humans are such a wealth of beauty and creativity and diversity, which I find thrilling. How cool is it to get to inhabit an incarnation full of such unique individuals? I just love it. So on to number 3, I'm going to talk about something that I think a lot of people probably want to hear about, which is marriage. Thelema does not, as a whole system, does not support the institution of marriage, nor does it disparage it either, or belittle it either. So I think that is so beautiful that this question of marriage and what that means for you and your relationship and the time frame you do it is completely up to you and your partner or partners or lovers or whatever it may look like for you. And obviously that also includes people of whatever gender configuration within that particular relationship. Again, it's a space to be yourself and align yourself with that. But, within Thelema, you can also think about marriage as a symbol of the union of opposites, or unio mystica, which is also a really beautiful thing, or just a union of coming together in love. And it's nice to, in my opinion, have the space to be exactly how you want, live your life how you want. I think from the outside, perhaps me and my personal relationship looks more traditional, but we are certainly not traditional people in some sense. We have our own jobs and lifestyles and things we value. So even though we have a very committed, intimate relationship where we love each other intensely, right now we're actually living apart, which is working out for us in our particular way. Maybe eventually we'll move in together, but right now that's kind of how we're doing it. And there is no pressure to marry within a timeline. Now, I personally want to get married. That's really important to me. And we've talked about that, and it is for him too. So that's hopefully in the future. But yeah, there's no pressure. And it's just wonderful to be able to do things on my timeline and the way I want with full honesty, without the extra pressure of like, I don't know, this idea of like God being disapproving of you or something. So the only God you would disappoint in this case, if you didn't align yourself with your will, is the God of your own divinity, your own God. So yeah, marriage is very open-ended and not required, but it's not disparaged either if you want to do it, which I like. Okay, so moving on to number 4. I love the challenge of rising up to be who you are in the best version of yourself, to do your will, or the classic Thelemic phrase, do what thou wilt, should be the whole of the law, in a space that is guilt-free, or less guilt, I should say. Certainly not guilt coming from a higher religious authority. That is not present in my life at all. Um, but this challenge to embrace your own divinity and um, who you are in this space and try to rise up to who you are is a really beautiful one. And going back to my first one, a joyous occasion. It's not an occasion riddled with guilt and self-hatred. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an invitation I find through the holy books and through other Thelemic rituals. It's an invitation to love yourself so much more deeply, to get to know yourself, and then fully embrace that when you arrive. I think that is just so absolutely beautiful. All right, fifth reason. I love this idea in Thelema of scientific illuminism and this steadfast dedication to truth and reason, not necessarily faith. So this idea of fully embracing science and fully embracing a sort of a forward evolutionary perspective on human spirituality, science, religion itself. And this is found woven throughout Thelema, not just in the writings, but also in the art, for example, of the Thoth Tarot. So the deck that Aleister Crowley and Frieda Harris worked on is the Thoth Tarot. And this is a beautiful deck, and one of the interesting features of it, because Thelema is so forward-facing, in the Aeon of Horus and all of that, all of the artwork is super futuristic, and there's like little bits of science woven into the cards themselves, whereas in contrast, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck is very nostalgic. It almost has a Ren Fair type feel, which is cool, but if you're looking to the future, it's really nice to have a religion and magical system and philosophy that's more forward-focused. For me personally, I'm a very scientifically, mathematically minded kind of person, so if I was going to gel and get along with a system of belief or a space, science has to be accepted and embraced thoroughly. So you find this idea of scientific illuminism woven throughout the practice of Thelema and the mysticism, this idea of seeing what works, what doesn't, trying to figure out the truth, trying to figure out yourself with all available tools out there, I think is just absolutely amazing. And I guess for my sixth reason, coming up on my last one, is that there is no external church dictating my path in life and telling me how I should live. So, of course, within Thelema, there is organizations like OTO, otherwise known as Ordo Templi Orientis, the Teaching Order, the AA. Other organizations in the modern day have sprung up, such as Temple of the Silver Star, College of Thelema, the Typhonian Order, and there's so much stuff out there, but the common thread amongst all of these is they are not going to take over your life like some, I hate to call anyone out, but like some evangelical or Christian churches. Like, this is absolutely your path, and you don't even have to join any of these organizations to be a practicing Thelemite. They're there if you want the support or you want the community, but there could be a case where it's not available to you, you're not interested in it, it's not a good fit for you. Well, congratulations, because being a Thelemite doesn't require you to join any organization, to initiate even. It just requires you to know and do your will and accept the book of the law. So I think that's a beautiful space, again, to allow yourself to expand into who you are in the way that is best suited for you. Like a lot of people, sort of reflecting on the 6 reasons I provided, we are born into a world where almost immediately we are told who we are, who we should be, without even the space of consideration of, well, who am I? What do I actually enjoy? Why did I incarnate into this existence? What is that spark of divinity within me? What is my role in this play of existence? And it's a question we're all asking. And I think some of us suffer greatly in worlds and in situations within the world that make us play roles that are not fit for us. They force us into positions, they force us into situations where we are a square peg in a round hole. We just don't fit. We grind against the lot we are given in life. And I think it's so beautiful to have something like Thelema in my life, which gives me autonomy, gives me dignity, gives me freedom and joy, and a nourishing spiritual philosophy and environment to embrace who I am. I think that's wonderful. And of course, there are the benefits of the Thelemic community in general, but that's not what this video is about. My fellow Thelemites are some amazing, beautiful human beings. I'm in love with one. But I mean, of course, there are some people I don't get along with, but that's life. No humans are perfect. Yeah, those are at the core of things I think about. Those are 6 reasons why I love being a Thelemite, and part of my path has been so beautiful so far. And yeah, I'm just here with joy and gratitude. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you have found that little chat kind of fun, informational. Maybe you were doing laundry or the dishes while you're listening. But as always, thanks so much for listening in, and I will see you on the next video. So I am the center of expression for the primal will to good, and so are you.